my name is Megan, and this is This Messy Business. This is my first ever YouTube video, and I created this channel really as a way to kind of document and journal, in a sense, in a creative sense, my family's journey to make our first home in Denver, Colorado into our dream home. We purchased our home in September of 2024, so we've been here about 6 months and are finally ready to take the plunge and really start decorating, designing, and really kind of lifting the house out of its, standard white beige renter era and really bring it back to life. The home was built in 1955, so it's got some quirks, it's got some interesting choices being made, and we're really excited. We are starting in the kitchen, so join me here on This Messy Business as we work on the kitchen and ultimately get to the final reveal. Let's go. Hey everyone, welcome to the kitchen. So this kitchen is actually from, I think, 1999 possibly. There was a kitchen fire a while before we purchased the house, and this was the renovation that they did at the time. The countertops are actually brand new. They put those in before they put the house on the market, and they are quartz. They are a little incongruent with the smoker's bisque sort of backsplash tile. Here we're going into the main living room upstairs. We actually also double this up as a dining room because the dining room that they advertised is really only about 5 feet wide. So you either have to have only like very skinny friends or maybe no friends. I'm not sure, but you're not really getting a lot of people in our quote unquote dining room. I don't know if anybody else is like this. I always pile stuff in front of the door to the basement and things need to go downstairs. This is my daughter Harper's room, and it is very small, but we try to make it as cute as we can. It was probably intended to be an office or a nursery back in the day because it is definitely not the same size as my son's room here. You can see this room is much larger. It has 2 windows, has a full-size closet, but we do make it work. We fit a lot of things in there. Touching me like lightning, keeping it exciting. Exactly what to do to blow my mind. You're from another planet. I've never felt like this. I don't know how I ever survived without it. I'm starry-eyed. Got me upside down, spinning around you. Wanna taste the clouds, dance with the moon. Artlist.io. This is just where I am trying to do a reset. I do have some pretty big plans for the kitchen. We need to paint the cabinets. I did recently get the tile floors sealed and deep cleaned. We don't have it in the budget to redo the tiles, even though I would love to. It's just not there right now, so we try to kind of use them as they were, as part of our aesthetic, kind of leaning into maybe a more old world classic color scheme. The house was also built in 1955, so it does track with that. Before I start a project though, I like to make sure I have a clean slate, so any decisions that I make in terms of color or any of those things, I really can look at it as is without the clutter and things on the counter. I really don't love a lot of clutter, but I am a high school English teacher and I work full-time. I coach the debate team. I also am a bar instructor on the side, so sometimes things just happen. We get busy, we have a lot going on, and it just doesn't always stay perfect. And that's okay. But before I start a major project, I do want to make sure that the counters are cleared and things are put away so that I can kind of start it in the best space possible. So here we're just getting that reset done and ready. Also, in almost all of my clips and filming and things like that, you'll see me in my comfort clothes. On my TikTok, I like to share my teacher outfits and my little ensembles, but when I get home, I always have to put on my at-home clothes. The comfy sweatpants and the shirt from orchestra camp in 2003. My other favorite thing is crew necks. I absolutely love crew necks. So you'll always see me in comfy outfits when I'm at home. I've got nothing to prove here, you know? Here we are on the other side. You can kind of see my son and my daughter getting their snacks in the fridge. We're not replacing the appliances right now. We are leaving those as is. But here I'm in the, what they call the dining room. So we're just turning it into more of like a nook. I'll be installing some built-ins and doing some different things. And I'll be putting them along that wall. So I want to make sure that the floors, even though they were recently cleaned and resealed, are, you know, dust-free as much as possible. My daughter is very much a helper. She's got the dustpan, and I have to chase her with the dustpan in order to get the dirt back in there. So here we are, we're getting it all set up. You'll also see our little dogs kind of running in and out. They're miniature schnauzers. They're almost a year old, and they are Russell and Dallas. You don't necessarily have to be able to tell the difference between the two, but the difference is Russell has a kind of a curly tail and Dallas has a long tail. Traditionally, schnauzers actually have kind of a stump tail, but these guys, their breeder kept them long. I built these IKEA shelves. You saw them in the house tour. They were in the boxes stacked up along the walls, but I built these Billy bookcases, and we're going to do an IKEA hack right there. Again, on that tight teacher budget, so not necessarily in the budget, in the plan to install like custom built-ins right here, but I do think we can get a similar look, increase the storage just by, you know, being creative and willing to try. I've never done an IKEA hack beyond, you know, maybe like painting it or adding legs or something like that. So this feels really bold. It feels like a big move. So it took me a while. I ordered those cabinets in February, I think, and it took me till the end of March to really get up the gumption to put them together. Building the cabinets was not the thing I was afraid of. What I really was afraid of is, you know, anchoring them to the wall and committing to it. So here they are. My brother is going to come over and help me kind of build a countertop across right there. We'll either use stair treads, or I did get a shelving board from Home Depot. Our IKEA is sold out of the extensions, so we are going to get some extensions for the top, and then we'll do molding to kind of finish it up to make it look like it's fully built in. My best friend is going to be bringing over a jigsaw for us so we can kind of close in and trim off those end pieces of the window framing so that we can close the gap between these cabinets. Between the cabinets is an outlet, so I have an extension outlet that will go on top for our coffee makers. So we have the Nespresso machine and then just your kind of 12 cupper for those long summer days. The bottom will have some doors across it so it'll hide some of this. And then these top cabinets will be glass, so I can display some of my great grandma's crystal and things like that. And then my grandma, who recently passed away in December, I have her 30th anniversary silver platters and things like that, so I'll be able to kind of add those there. We'll also put a shelf across the top, which is why I bought a really big shelving board so I can kind of split it and use it for both. I just might need to trim it down some. We'll put it across the top, right on top of the window, so then I can put some cookbooks or other items along the top as well. They originally advertised this space when we were shopping for the house as the dining room. Now these cabinets are only 13 inches deep, and maybe they're just only like to feed 2 people at a time. I'm not sure, but we did decide to just add bar stools. You can see it's very much a mess. It's spring break and I've been deconstructing the kitchen.
Me too.
I painted the backsplash. We really want to replace it with some kind of pretty subway tile that has some texture and movement in it. But that is not in the budget right now. I'll have to teach some more bar classes and save up for that. We also are keeping the original appliances for now. They work well. They need a good deep clean of like their coils and things, but they do work really well. I've replaced the seal in our dishwasher. So try not to, you know, overspend on things that we don't necessarily need to. Harper's got a lot to say today. We want to take the cabinets, the new built-in cabinets, up to the ceiling because these cabinets go all the way up to the ceiling. And the previous owners put in like gorgeous new quartz counters, which you can't really see because everything's a mess right now. We've got piles of painting supplies. I've got cans of paint over here. You can see where I've already started taking the doors off. But they put in these gorgeous quartz countertops and just left the original 1980s backsplash tile with it. Unfortunately, we are also keeping the floors. I had them deep cleaned and resealed. They are not something I would have chosen. I love you too, babe. They're deeply textured and they literally just catch dirt and grit, and they're really, really painful to clean constantly. But there they are. We painted the back door. So we'll get there. We're working on it. But that's one of our major projects for right now. It's fixing up this kitchen so it feels more functional, feels cuter, looks better.
You're from another planet. I've never felt like this. I don't know how I ever survived without it. I'm starry-eyed. Got me upside down, spinning around you. Wanna taste the clouds, dance with the take a trip around your body. Boy, I love the way you got me. Starry-eyed. Couldn't fight if I wanted. Flying to places that I never thought I could go. You're a meteor shower falling down all over me.
So this isn't necessarily the most fun thing I've ever done, is repair and paint these cabinets. Like I said, these are from 1999 or so, at least the early thous at the youngest. And they did rent out this property for several years before they finally put it on the market. There's only been 2 owners, so the original owner and his family, and then ourselves. And because we live in the Rockies, it was of course a tumultuous spring break. It was rainy, and I think it even snowed a little bit the whole time. It was very cold. I think we had one day where we hit 70. So all of the painting that I thought I'd be able to do outside on our back deck actually had to be done inside. So I sort of set up shop here in the living room, or I'm sorry, the dining room, and was just painting and painting and painting and painting. I'm pretty sure I had the paintbrush just cemented to my hand after a while. I did use the bin primer, so we did degreaser, we sanded, and then we used the bin primer to kind of set things up. I think the degreasing was probably the hardest and grossest part. But then I did remove each of the doors and the drawer fronts to really try and get as thorough of a painting and coating as I possibly could. It was a ton of work, you guys. I'm not even kidding. I very arrogantly thought that I could just do this over a spring break because I owned a house when I was 18 in Grand Junction, where I went to college and grew up, and I could do things like that. I could paint the kitchen in a weekend, but I also didn't have 2 kids then. I also didn't work at, the fitness studio. I didn't do any of those things, so my abilities to do things in a week then were very different than my abilities to do things in a week now. So here we are, new outfit, new day, painting the other doors because I was going for a 2-tone look. The upper cabinets were white and the lower cabinets were kind of this darker color. I did think it was going to go more of a green brown kind of a taupe, but over the orange color, and then with the floors, they definitely pull a little bit more kind of a gray purple. And I'm not mad about it, actually. I really like it. I think it kind of adds some depth. And then the wall color that they painted the entire house, this cream color, it very much looks like French vanilla coffee mate. I'm not mad at it. It's fine. But we wanted to kind of go with something that did not require us to repaint the walls either. Here I am finally kind of painting. I've already painted these cabinets at least once, and I already have to do another coat before I kind of do our full reveal. Here I'm anchoring them into each other. I did add this backsplash and just kind of trying to get some of that solid up. And again, just working non-stop on it with my little helpers kind of coming in and out.
Artlist.io.
This is the progress that we made today on the built-ins. There are a few things left to do. I need to get out my saw and cut down the board that I got. That's going to be split between the two. And I also need to get it stained and sealed since we will be using it as a coffee bar countertop. Won't see a ton of water, but just to make sure. I also have the extensions. They still haven't come in yet, so maybe I'll just go pick some up and cancel my order, but we will get those added. They are 14 inches tall, and there's 15 inches between here and the top of the ceiling. So I think it will fit perfectly. I'm a little bit anxious about putting them up, but I think the IKEA stuff is meant to go together pretty well, and I think it will be fine. Obviously, I forgot to paint one whole door. So as soon as we get those extensions in, I'm just going to go in and do all of the painting because I did not peel the tape off in time, which means that it pulled away even with the primer because I left it on for too long. I don't actually normally tape things if they're glass, like the window and things like that. But on this one, I'm going to just scrape it with a razor blade. So I think that's what I'm going to do is I'm just going to paint them and then scrape whatever is left over with a razor blade to kind of give it that smoother finish and avoid now having to go back and repaint that whole trim. The top part will be a matching color, and that color does match. The kitchen's sort of destroyed because I've been working all day again. It does match the lowers, so hopefully the idea is that they all speak to each other so that it gives it a full kitchen experience. I will also be staining or painting the window trim. I was really hoping that that natural color would actually like come through for me, but it still reads pretty orange. I found this backsplash, I guess. It's actually peel and stick peel and stick wallpaper. I actually found it under my bed. I think I bought it for our old house because it is kind of a renter-friendly product, but we're not renters anymore, but also on a budget. So I just put it there. The gold speaks to the gold colors that I have, those tones going, the warmth there. So I think it'll work for now until we tile the actual backsplash, and then I will tile right here to really make it match. The other thing I have to do is, of course, build the supports in and buy the gap filler. I'm just going to get a gap filler from Lowe's, and I will add it and we'll paint everything. So I have to get the IKEA cabinets. We've got to get the gap filler. I've got to get that new outlet in. The one that I ordered, it's really kind of annoying, but the way that the wire actually ran, I couldn't fit it, the literal plug, I couldn't fit it behind the cabinet, even though there is plenty of space. So I'm going to return that one, and I ordered another one where the wire faces the other direction. It's really goofy. Should be something that like can rotate or something, I guess, but there it is. We will add all those pieces in kind of at the same time, and then hopefully we'll be ready for a reveal. I, of course, started putting some items in. This is one of my grandma's platters. It needs to be polished, but it is silver. And then here are the candlesticks that go with it. They're a little bit more tarnished, so they need some polishing, but just starting to kind of come together finally. Just more painting on deck for us, which is all right. It'll be all good. I did decide that we needed to do a quick reset of the kitchen, so you can kind of see the colors of the kitchen in the daylight here, and I really needed to get things wiped down. There were some spots, some paint splatter on the countertop, so you can kind of see me scraping at those really carefully with the quartz. I didn't want to use anything on them, so I just kind of had to work at them. I also painted the backsplash tile. I didn't show that because I did it later at night, and it was actually very fast, but that stuff dries almost instantly, guys. Like within a minute, So there are a couple spots that I'm a little disappointed in because there were some runs on it that I didn't even notice because I kept moving on to the next section. And by the time I got back, it had frozen in place. So that was definitely a learning experience. Sort of wish I would have started that maybe on a less obvious spot, but there it is. I also replaced our light fixture over the sink. I originally thought that when we looked at the house that it was a flower vase with the style of light fixture they'd had before. So here it is at night, of course, because that's when it was finally all done. And here is, it's like 70% done. It's definitely not all the way done. But you can see the colors and the two-tone. I forgot to put those doors back over top. They're there now. I just always forget about that space above the fridge. I don't use it very often, and it holds like Christmas plates and decor. We painted the back door and the front door black. They were really, really, really damaged from previous tenants. Sort of looked like a bear had tried to escape, so it was either replace them or paint them. We went for paint them. This is the island with all the champagne bronze is the color of the handles. And there's, of course, the built-ins that we're still working on. But here is the kitchen. We will do a lot of the decorating and moving things around. I'll start shopping the kitchen and kind of finagling any of those appliances. I like a clear countertop. I don't love a ton of appliances out. We've got one more kitchen reset after work before we go to bed, just to hopefully have a clear kitchen space when we wake up in the morning. We've gotten so much done in this video today. We did the cabinets, we worked on painting and installing the built-ins, so much more to come and the full reveal on deck. Please like and subscribe. Thank you so much for tuning in and joining me today.
Wanna taste the